Hey everyone, this is Dorian with Shuffle and Chill, and today we're going to be talking about the Week 11 update for Pokemon Shuffle. We got some cool new, well not new really, but we got some stuff that is going to be very useful. Some stuff that you're going to want skill swapped, and some stuff that you are going to want to grind because you will want to max out. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'll be giving you guys this list or this breakdown in the order that I think you should do these stages on a daily basis, and I will also tell you how much you should be investing in them. Alright guys, so the first Pokemon that we have here is the Great Chance a Day, which is Jellicent, female form. So you get about 7 chances throughout this whole week to try it once a day, and you get 6 moves to do about 4,000 damage. The catch rate isn't great. You get 15% plus 2% per move, but to be honest with you, if you have any decent damage burst, or if you can get off with something like Typeless Combo or Sinister Power, and maybe activate also like Mega Gengar or something like that, this is not so hard to take out. The raised max level is 120, so that is pretty good. It's pretty decent. And it also has Mind Zap. Mind Zap is kind of outdated. It's not a great skill, but you know, it's still a great Pokemon if you don't have... Actually, I mean, I guess it's a decent Pokemon. I wouldn't say it's a great Pokemon, but it's a decent Pokemon for you to try out. So go ahead, catch it. You have 7 days. Make sure you go in there with your best strategy, and check out the video if you want some more hints. Alright guys, so the next thing I want to cover are the daily Pokemon for this week. We have Wynot, which is pretty useless. Torkoal has a decent skill if you invest in it, but to be honest with you, there's no reason to invest in it. Zangoose, who has it's alright skill, but to be honest with you, again, if it's a normal Pokemon, it better have a very good, a damn good skill. Love Disc, pretty much useless. The only thing that is worth getting, that you may or may not, I don't know if I will, want to invest in is Seviper, because it does have Toxic Stress, but it does need to be skill swapped. The one thing I will say though, it's only 100 candies to max it out. Well, I guess 100 candies is kind of not too cheap, but Seviper does have a 50% drop rate. This is definitely like the best thing in the Safari. Alright, so the next Pokemon that I want to talk about is Drifblim, but before I do that, I should say that my recommendation for the first 2 Pokemon that I mentioned, which would be the Dailies and the Jellicent, is first, catch the Jellicent, make sure that you have it. Once you already caught it, go ahead and forget about it, but you know, if you're like me, you're probably going to be trying it for the first few days until you catch it, or you have to use a Great Ball at some point. The next thing, of course, catch the Daily. Even if you don't really want to use them, these dailies are still kind of cool if you want to complete the Pokedex. And then you should move on to Drifblim. Drifblim is not worth farming. It's a very weak Pokemon. 100 max attack, and it has a Rock Break, which has a 100% activation. So pretty weak. Yeah, just what I would recommend for these first 3 is make sure you catch them. If you've already caught them, move on to the next thing, because there's a lot of stuff this week that you're gonna want to have those hearts for. Okay guys, the next Pokemon that I want to talk about is actually a pretty decent Pokemon, and were it not for this week, I would probably be trying to, I don't know about farming it. Actually, skill isn't great, but I would definitely be trying to do something with it. So the next Pokemon is Regice, as you can see on the screen. So Regice is decent. It's got a ton of HP and a lot of moves and a ton of ice, and it also disrupts with some Regice itself. So if you have something that has shot out, like my Hitmonlee, you'll be fine against it. So why would I want to catch Regice? So are there any good things about Regice? So it has a decent AP of 110 max AP. The skill that it comes with is Hitting Streak, and Hitting Streak is a damage burst. It tops out at a low multiplier, to be honest with you. It needs to be at level 5 to be any good. I would honestly prefer Swap Plus Plus if you can skill swap it. So Swap Plus Plus can really solve some boards for you, and it's great utility. It can, you know, solve a lot of problems for you. It is 120 total candies, and the activation at level 5 is going to be 50, 80, and 100. So I think it's much better, but you know, it is much better once it's skill swap, but it's still very, very low priority when it comes to skill swapping, and definitely this week. The best thing that this Pokemon can do is solve boards for you, which you can do with a Tapper if you just Mega Start. So you really have to think about whether you want to use that skill swapper. That being said, it is a decent ice attacker. Yeah, I mean, that's all I can really say about it. Honestly, this week, this is not the Pokemon you want to focus on. You want to catch Regice if you don't already have it. If you already have it, catch it, and, or I'm sorry, just beat it if you want the 200 coins, and then move on. The stuff that is this week's best stuff is coming up right after this. Okay, so the next Pokemon that I am going to mention is very interesting, and to be honest with you, had I more time and, you know, less events, I would probably try this Pokemon out, try investing in this Pokemon, because I do think that you can do some decent damage with it. So Muck Alola form has a max AP of 110, and its attack is Counterattack Plus, which is really interesting to me because basically it's one of the best multipliers. You get 100 times the number of disruptions on the board, which if you do the math can be, I think, like 33 if you get a match of 3 and it activates. So at level 5 it has a 50, 80, 100 activation rate. That's 50 at a match of 3, 4, a match of 4 will get you 80, and a match of 5 will get you 100%. But under certain conditions, it can be pretty good quick damage burst. I think, you know, at the beginning of a game, if of a play or run through a stage, if you have a complicated board, you can do some quick damage. It's an interesting option. It is a bit of a high investment, and this week there are other priorities. But if you do already have some of the Pokemon that I'm going to mention later in this video, and you have them swapped, or you have them maxed at the skill that you want them, I would say consider coming back and working on Muck Alola form, because it is also extremely easy to beat, to be honest with you. Okay, so next thing that I'm going to talk about, or next Pokemon that I'm going to talk about, is going to be Arceus. Arceus is one of my favorite Pokemon, so I'm debating if I want to max this out this week or not. Probably not. But so basically with Arceus, you have one of the strongest Pokemon in the game. It is a normal type with an 150 max AP. At 2 hearts a run, I'm sorry, not 2 hearts, 500 coins a run, it'll give you a 50% drop rate for skill boosters, and its effect is double normal, which is a ×4 multiplier on normal monsters in the combo. At level 5 it has a decent 40, 80, 100% activation. It's not great, to be honest with you. It's not like 100, like, you know, 60, 100, 100 like we see in some other instances. It has great neutral coverage, of course, but it doesn't have any super effective coverage. So you do need to sort of commit, you know, fully to a normal team if you're going to do this. So it's definitely not splashable as we see with stuff like Silvally. So yeah, that's Arceus. I really like this Pokemon. I maybe I won't try to max it, but I would definitely try to get it to at least like level 2, maybe 3 if I really feel like it. But anyway, yeah. Go ahead and catch it. It's not very hard if you have decent fighting Pokemon. Buzzwole will basically punch a hole through this thing. So yeah, not too hard. Lucario's very decent also. So give it a shot. Okay, now we get to the good stuff, or the stuff that is a lot more useful. The first of these Pokemon is going to be Drifblim, as you can see on the screen. So Drifblim has a max AP of 105 with a 25% drop for the skill booster. Cross attack is not very good, so you are going to want to skill swap that to Barrier Shot. Barrier Shot is actually very, very good. It's pretty much like an end game ability. It's got pretty good super effectives and very, very good coverage of neutral damages with the ghost typing. And again, it's an essential end game ghost damage burst Pokemon. It's not very hard to beat, to be honest with you. Basically, what you want to do is set off something like Typeless Combo or Sinister Power, anything that is super effective. If you have Mimikyu, you can even try to get Mimikyu off first, and then it'll give you an extra boost of damage, and that is always helpful. So yeah, this is a Pokemon that you do want to catch, and if you have the time, farm. Now it's going to be kind of tough because you do have Kyogre, which is also a very good Pokemon, which I'm going to explain next, but this is definitely something you don't want to sleep on if you can take advantage of it. Okay, so the cash cow, or the thing that you want to focus on for this week, is going to be Kyogre. And the reason you want to do this is because Kyogre has one of the best abilities, Rock Shot. Not only that, but it has one of the best typings, which is Water, which needs support in that area as far as like getting rid of rocks. On top of that, it has a massive 140 max AP, max attack. So it's a beat stick, and this time around, because it requires 2 hearts, you actually have a 50% drop rate on Kyogre. So although you spend 2 hearts, you end up with a 50% drop rate, which I guess it kind of works out to be the same thing as if it was 1 heart, 25%. It's very useful for burst damage, especially in water teams. It doesn't have great coverage across the board, to be honest with you. There aren't a lot of things that it's super effective against, but yeah, it's still a decent Pokemon. The one thing I will say that kind of like doesn't sit really well with me about this Pokemon is it kind of feels like a placeholder for Primal Kyogre, which basically has just a better version of Rock Shot, which I think is like Rock Shot Alpha. So like I'm kind of like torn between investing in this thing and not investing in this thing, but I think I'm so far from endgame, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are, that I don't think I'm gonna get Primal Kyogre anytime soon. So this is definitely worth investing in, and some people even use double Kyogres in teams, so you know, there's that. So again, this is the Pokemon that you want to farm. If there's anywhere where you should be dumping your hearts, it's either here or the Drifblim. Everything else I believe requires cash or like 1 heart, but you don't need to farm it. So yeah, go ahead and farm Kyogre, get it to level 5 if you can. I very much doubt that, but yeah, give it a shot. Okay, so with that being done, I'm going to talk about the Safari real quick. Honestly, you can place the Safari anywhere on this list as far as like the order that you want to do it in. I just wasn't sure if I would say that you want to do it after Kyogre or, you know, after Mega Steelix. So, you know, it's here or after Mega Steelix, it doesn't really matter. But this Safari is pretty much useless as far as Pokemon. To be honest with you, it doesn't really have any Pokemon that you would say want on your team. Shelter is decent because it gives coins on the stage. I believe there's one more stage that gives coins. I want to say it's the Kingler one, I'm not sure, or the Sea King one, but those Pokemon are also pretty useless. Really the only thing you may want is Shiny Gyarados. Shiny Gyarados is actually really decent. It gives you you know, it's got a max AP of 110, and it's essentially a better Gengar. Well, I don't know if better, but it's a different Gengar. It requires, once you put all this, you know, Mega Speed Ups on it, it requires less icons than Mega Gengar, so you can potentially get a Mega a lot faster. And yeah, that's really about it. I mean, the skill that it comes with, L Boost, has a ×5 multiplier when it's maxed out, but I can't imagine why you would want to invest in that skill. Yeah, so Shiny Gyarados is nice. That's about it. Other than that, this Safari has Shiny Magikarp, which has Cheer, and I believe you can skill swap it to Dragon Shriek, which is a very good skill, but has tons of immunities and a ridiculously low activation rate. So pretty useless. Anyway, that's it for the Safari. You should then move on to Mega Steelix, the Mega Steelix competition, and I'm going to talk about that next. Okay, and now we get to the absolute last thing that I would recommend doing, which would be the Mega Steelix competition. So this Mega Steelix competition is nice because you only have to invest about 9,500 coins to do a full item run of this. You don't have to worry about complexity -5, and you get 16 moves to do this. I personally went with a fire team with Mega Camerupt for this stage, and the reason why I did this was because so Mega Camerupt is not only is it super effective, but it's a tapper, so it gives you control over extending combos. Of course, Shiny Ho has cross attack plus, which does very good damage. It has a nice multiplier. I brought Delphox with me for that Pyre multiplier, and my hope was to trigger Ninetales' Burn Plus to boost damage. So the idea was trigger Burn Plus and then start creating combos with Delphox and extending them with Mega Camerupt. Unfortunately, that didn't work out that way, so it didn't go very smoothly for me. So I had I would say, lackluster and bad run. To be honest with you, I may try this again, but with competitions, I honestly, most of the rewards you can get other ways, and I just have so many raised max levels that it's not worth doing over and over and over again. There are other options as far as doing this. You can do a full fire team with Blaziken, and I saw a few people doing runs with Blaziken. But yeah, so as far as the rewards, at rank 1 you get, of course, the best, which is a level up and 5 mega speed ups, and then it starts decreasing from there. If you don't have Steelixite, you do get Steelixite. I don't get it because I already have it. But yeah, so you know, mega competitions are for mega speed ups. I'm sorry, competitions like this are for mega speed ups, to be honest with you, because that's the only thing that this thing gives you more of than, you know, escalation battles or stuff like that. So go ahead and give this a try. Honestly, do a combo extender like Mega Camerupt. If you have a maxed out Flygon or something like that, you can bring that and just leave one slot open so that you can start with a Flygon. I see a lot of people using typeless combos. Typeless combos are nice, but to be honest with you, I feel like Pyre and Burn Plus is a better combo as long as you have a decent fire team. So yeah, my recommendation would be probably a fire team. If you don't have a full fire team, yeah, of course, do a typeless combo. We have there are some decent things that are super effective. You know, ground, and of course fire. So yeah, give it a shot. See you guys on the next video. Let me know how it went in the comment section below. I didn't place too high. As you guys can see, I had a very lackluster run. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video, but before I go, I want to give you guys a full breakdown of sort of what I did in this video and why I went through these things in this order. So first of all, you guys are going to notice that we still have the escalation battle from last week, which is the Latios escalation battle. I'm going to recommend that unless you can absolutely get to the second skill swapper, which is, I believe, at like 250 or something like that, or yeah, it's 250, yeah, maybe 250 or 175. I may be thinking about the previous escalation battle. Anyway, unless you can get to the second skill swapper comfortably without spending more than like 30,000 coins or 20,000 coins, I would say just stop the escalation battle at the first skill swapper. I know I'm personally having a lot of trouble with escalation battle number 100 because it's extremely hard and I don't want to use any coins on it. So I would say skip that and move on to the other things because we have a lot of really good Pokemon. After that, what I'm gonna say is catch all the stuff that you don't have. Obviously, the Great Challenge. If you don't have Drifblim, catch it. Catch the daily Pokemon. Go through the Safari with no hearts needed, the free no hearts needed that we get every week, and then move on to the stuff that it's kind of like good but gimmicky. I would say like a Alolan Mug, Arceus if you really want it. Yeah, and after that, I would say focus your attention on the stuff that is actually farmable and also very good. So I would say high priority is probably something like Drifblim and Kyogre. Kyogre being probably one of the most important things. Regice, honestly, just catch it and then, you know, forget about it. If you do want to farm Arceus, Arceus is also a decent Pokemon, and it doesn't overlap with Kyogre because they're not vying for hearts, since Arceus requires coins. I would say if you want to invest in something, Arceus is probably a better investment than continuing on that escalation battle, unless, again, like I said, you can get to that second skill swapper pretty cheap. After that, I would say focus on the Safari. Oh, so yeah, of course, focus on the Safari, and then lastly, do the Mega Steelix competition. If you have some extra time, which you probably shouldn't, since you're farming so much, you can, I guess, go back to the escalation, but I think top priority is getting that Kyogre to top level, Drifblim to top level. If you want that Muck to, you know, maybe like a level 3, that Alolan Muck, that would be nice. And obviously, of course, also the Arceus. Anyway, those are my recommendations for the week. Let me know what you guys think. If you like the video, leave a comment and like it. Of course, don't forget to subscribe, and remember to, you know, stay calm and shuffle on.